You guys, we're back on the 1962 Willys truck project with the 2018 Ecotech 3 4.3 GM motor out of a Silverado. We're gonna get this thing lifted up today. Last video we brought you guys, we were talking about the transmission tunnel cover is gonna have to be widened or lifted, because right now where the engine pan is sitting is within the travel range of the suspension, so we need to bring everything up. So we're probably going to have to cut out the floor pan, bring it up through the floor pan, and build a whole new transmission tunnel. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. We're going to throw on the transfer case, so that way we can check fitment with the transfer case, make sure it doesn't hit the floorboard of the car, and go from there.
Built with soul, not just steel.
Before we get too far along, we're going to go ahead and put this Novak adapter plate to the transmission. We're just going to throw in a couple bolts for now. Throw this transfer case on. Unfortunately, I can't put this thing up on the lift because my cherry picker is holding the motor up currently, so we're just going to toss 2 bolts in here for now. So on the transmission side, these are M10s, and on the transfer case sides, they're 3/8 thread. So there's one. Okay. All right, we got that finger tight for now. All right, set that down. Okay, after kind of looking it over, I believe this is going to go inside. This is the exact same size as the seal, so I think this is going to go inside. This is for a different setup, so we'll take this off, slide that shaft out, and then, so unfortunately this is going to take a little bit of bench work. We got right here, it says transfer case compatibility, 2-wheel drive transfer case features conical shaped tail housings. This was a 4-wheel drive originally, so we don't have to worry about that, but it says transfer case input shaft installation. The input shaft of your transfer case will need to be replaced with a 32 spline to match the 6L80 output, or a 29 spline to match the 6L90. This input shaft installation is 1 to 3 hour bench job and usually includes either a simple gasket and seal replacement or a full rebuild of the transfer case. So let's get this thing apart and see if we have any snap rings. We'll pull this front cover off. Worst case, we'll pull this rear cover off, see if we can get to the shaft easily, if it's the 1 hour job or if it's going to be a 3 hour job. All right, we got the shaft off. We're gonna go take this to the press in the other shop. We'll press this bearing off. That's going to take place of that. So we'll press this bearing back onto the new style shaft and we'll reassemble all of this, and then we'll be ready to test fit it. All right, there's the old, here's the new one, bearing's on. I did notice that this has some pitting and some rust from shipping, it looks like, right here. So we're gonna see if we can polish that out with some emery cloth so it doesn't eat up the seal. There you go, there's just surface rust, nothing to worry about there. So we got that all cleared out. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna place this back in the housing here, put that snap ring back in, and then put everything back together. Okay, we got it back in. Let's get our snap ring back in. Okay, snap ring is back in. Get our front gear. Get our lower snap ring. Okay, it's in its groove. We're gonna clean this surface, put some new silicone, and then we can go stab this thing. Okay, real light bead of some RTV. Silicone back around this lip. There we go. One thin slice. Let's get our numbering reading right side up. There we go. Right there. Actually, let's go right there. This little cutout was on this side, so now, get this lined up a bit more right there. Okay, so we have one issue is this gap right here. So the output shaft and the input shaft are too long. So I'm not sure, I'll have to do some more research, but maybe possibly the stock Chevy trans adapter spacer, maybe a short one if they make one, to go in between here and here to bring this forward. Again, this is bottomed out against the output shaft. I'm going to double check the instructions, but I'm pretty sure that we're supposed to have the factory housing off this transmission, which this transmission didn't come with it, so we might have to order that. But for now, since we know that this can't go that way anymore, we got 2 bolts holding it in. We know that this is going to be roughly the clearance issues we're going to have. You can see here in the floorboard and everything, because this is going to be sitting, if anything, it might move back a little more. So we'll just, when we make our floor pan, we'll cut a little extra distance, but we got to come quite a bit of ways up to clear that front suspension. So let's get started on that aspect of this. Okay, so what we're going to start with is we had already fabricated the engine side of the mounts. So what we want to do is we want to bring this forward and up just enough to where the bottom of the pan is not in that suspension travel range. So what we're going to do is we're going to jack this up slowly, then jack up the transmission. What we end up wanting to do is we want to keep that 3-degree angle that matches the rear drive line. So we want to keep that 3 degrees, but we want to bring this whole unit up and see what's going to hit. Okay, currently we are clear of the bump stops with the front of the motor. So this is roughly about the height the motor is going to need to sit within the frame here. Let's go look underneath, see what's already hitting because I know we're nowhere near our 3 degrees. Okay. So, should I get some light up there for you guys? So, as you can see, we're already hitting the top of the transfer case. Looks like most of this is going to clear all the way around with no issues. So we're going to likely just have to cut this section of the floorboard out and redesign that. That way also the shifters go on that silver bracket and go up through the floor. So we also got to make sure this isn't under the seat and it's far enough forward. But we're looking at right now, we are currently roughly, oh, I need a flat surface here. Hold on. There we go. That's a flat surface. We're at 11 degrees currently, so this has got to come up to get that 3 degrees. So we're going to mark out right where to cut, and bring this thing up and see where we're at. So the easiest and quickest way to find where you're at is going to be drilling a drill through the floorboard, because we can just tack weld, patch weld that back up. So we're going to drill a drill bit through the area as far back and far over as we need. That'll give us an idea of how much we need to cut from here over and back. So I'm going to say we'll give ourselves a little bit of grace, a little bit of room. These were already clear, we're not worried there. So it's going to be mostly just this housing here. So I'm going to say right about now let's go into the cab, see where we're at. And the good news is, even at our furthest point back, we are in front of the seat and all the seat brackets. So we basically need to cut from here across, and we're gonna make a mark. We'll go back underneath, we'll drill how far forward we need to cut, and then we're only gonna need to build a panel that's gonna go from this passenger side up and over to meet our transmission tunnel there. Since we do not know how much deeper that spacer bracket we're gonna get is, I'm gonna actually take this almost all the way to the seat to give us an extra inch of clearance. We can always bring this forward a hair before we build the final motor mounts, but we did mark our forwardmost position. But with this cap here, we may actually take this a little further and just go right past this, cut all the way here, and then take it a little further back. That way we know it's going to clear even with the new spacer, and then we can adjust the forward rear of the motor and transmission as a whole. Now we're going to get this drawn out real quick, and then we're going to lower that transmission so we don't accidentally cut into anything. What we're going to end up doing, like I said, we want to go here, but I think what I'm going to end up doing is going just past actually, I might just carry that factory line down right here. Right down here. Okay. Okay, so you guys can see that hopefully. I don't know. Yeah. So basically from here down, back up. That's the section we need to cut out. So let's lower the transmission, get you guys on time lapse. We'll get this cut out, and then we'll be able to raise that engine up to the height we need. Okay, here we are. So you can see we may end up needing to cut some of this out as well, but we're going to try to leave it in there. Since this panel is a complex curve, and we're no longer going to have shifters through this area, sorry, it goes like that. We're going to try to, what we probably will do is just only patch the spheres and then weld this all together so it's one solid piece. The new shifter, depending on what angle it comes at, it's probably going to come up right in this area, but it comes with, I can find the, it already comes with a bolt-in kind of patch plate, so that'll likely sit like right about here somewhere. So like I said, depends on where the shifters sit. It may be over here, it may be over here, but for now, we should be able to raise this thing up. All right, so looking at this so far, everything's clearing really nicely. The shifter, set you guys down for a second. Looks like the shifter bolt is right here, which means these are going to go inside of there. Okay. I think what we're going to end up doing is cutting more of this just out of the way for now. We can just build the whole panel if we have to, because that's supposed to go that way. So let's cut across and cut across to get this out of the way. Ouch. And then see where we're at. And the bolt they gave us isn't quite long enough to go all the way through the bracket, which is interesting. It's their kit. Okay, well, that being said, let's make sure. We'll just take the washers out of there for now. Make sure these are going to actually fit. Okay, that one goes there. This one is going to go right there. Okay. All right. Okay, they don't move a lot, so we are solid right there. I'm really happy with that. So let's get our angle finder on here and see roughly what degree we're sitting at and how much more we need to come up or go down. There we got beautiful clearance. So basically, we're going to need to come up with this transmission, get this perpendicular to the ground, put it on this true flat surface, It's a machined surface. We are at, get over here, 10 degrees, 9 degrees. So the whole unit needs to come up. So let's go up with it. We got 3 little pumps. Oops. We are at 8.1. Let's keep going. Again, this probably will get centered this way just a little bit. There we go. I think we're going to be pretty close. $7.4. Okay. Roughly about there. We're just about to hit the bell housing. We're damn close. We just barely clearing everything, so depending on where it's at, right here or there, perpendicular. This is just a rough fitment, guys. It's about, all right, you guys, so right now the max, we're just about to touch the floor pan in a couple more areas, just barely, but we are maxed on our upwards. I mean, I could remove that bracket there and give us a little more room to go up on that, but we're almost hitting right there. So, and we're at 5.95 degrees. So we've already measured the rear to verify it is in fact at 3 degrees there. So for us to come up any more, we would need to cut further back into the floor pan. Still in front of the seat, luckily. Probably just take that bracket off where it's hitting the side of the transmission tunnel. But I don't want to make any cuts until I know the exact depth and what we're supposed to do for this spacing here. So for now, we got pretty far on this. We're going to call it a video for now. We got to do some research on this gap, because if this has to come back any further, we're going to have to take the seat out and probably cut out some of that frame under the seat, so this can clear more, and then re-tunnel under the seat as well. Lots of little intricate things when you're doing a custom engine swap like this. You know, hopefully you guys are learning something as you're going along. As for now, this is JP Street and Performance, where dream cars are built, not bought. From the first cut to the final pass. I'll catch you on the next project.